Hello, everyone. Um, I haven't recorded anything in a long time. I know I say that every single time I put up a video, but it's the damn truth. Um, I was recently reminded of a story of something that happened to me last year, and I was encouraged to post it somewhere aside from Discord because giant wall of text, and no one wanted to read that shit, which I can understand. So I wanted to tell you all about my experience while I was homeless at a place called the Lighthouse Mission in Terre Haute, Indiana. Uh, Basically, I passed through this so-called shelter back in early winter of 2021 when I was homeless. I was on my way to St. Louis to visit a friend. Thought I could rest up, maybe find a bit of work in the city, day labor or something like that. Just make some money and move on. I could tell from the very first 5 minutes of walking in there that this place was not worth the paint that it was on the walls, which, mind you, was being held up by bedbug and cockroach shit. Um, as soon as I walked in, I was told to surrender my lighters at the front desk and that I had to sign them in and out whenever I wanted to use them. The only thing running through my mind at the time was, bitch, this is my personal property. You have no right to tell me what I can and can't do with them. Uh, and this place, they also, well, they feed you rotting, moldy food and attempt to force you into slave labor if you don't already have a job when you get there. And if you do, they try and force you to hand over 75% of your check to them. And they literally have no right to be sticking their hands into your bank account. I told them as soon as I walked in as well that I was an atheist, and yet they still tried to force me to attend church services to, and I quote, save me from my own stupidity. And when they finally figured out I wasn't going to budge or cave into their bullshit, the harassment finally started. The first night I was there, I got in the shower, got myself cleaned up, um, and the guy working the front desk decided to come up and try and argue with me that I didn't know how to properly clean myself and had to go shower again with him standing there watching me to ensure I did it correctly. I'm a 30-year-old male. Go fuck yourself. Uh, the guy's that little fucker is literally lucky I didn't get up and plant his head into the nearest wall. And I almost had to because when I refused to be sexually harassed, he got the entire dorm to try and intimidate me into allowing him to have his way and put me in a position of nearly having to fight 6 other men who were easily in their 60s. When he finally figures out this is not going to go the way he wants it to, he finally runs off with his tail between his legs. And I managed to get some sleep after firmly informing everyone in the room in no uncertain terms that the first motherfucker to lay a hand on me would be getting a vacation, a very long vacation, mind you, to the nearest hospital. And, well, and then we get into day 2. That's when they decided that they would try and spring 6 hours of forced labor onto me. They did this to everyone with the threat that if you don't, they're going to throw you back out onto the street. And I figured, hey, they let me sleep in this cockroach and bedbug infested hellhole for the night, and I was extremely tired at the time. So I figured I might as well, or I could help them out. Not willingly, mind you. I'd rather be out looking for work at the time. So I can get the hell out of here. And when I finally got a break, I decided to go down and watch some YouTube videos on my phone. There's a room that they have some vending machines in that they force you to keep all your soft drinks and stuff in for some reason. I don't know why. And so I'm sitting there, just with my headphones in, watching YouTube, minding my own business, and guess what happens? Same asshole that was working the front desk last night decides to come up and start screaming at me for not helping carry out all the cardboard in the building to a truck that they had out back. Um, yeah, he literally rips the headphones out of my ears to do this. Um, and no one even bothered to tell me that this was happening. So basically, I told the guy, I don't work for free. I'm not a goddamn mind reader, and I sure as hell am not your slave. That's when I just packed my shit, left the fucking building, and flipped them off the entire damn way. Basically, in short, I would rather sleep in a dumpster filled with uncapped needles that were passed around by heroin addicts that had nothing but HIV, and then sleep in this mountain of bullshit that they have the gall to call a homeless shelter, where they'll literally exploit people that are in the most need for their own profit. And yeah, this is not the only case of this happening, because there is a church in California that I found an article about. I will share with y'all here. Um, so this is about an article from The Guardian I found about a U.S. ministry accused of luring homeless people into forced labor. It seems to be something fairly common amongst churches these days to attempt to exploit people. Um, let's see. So, a dozen leaders from a California based ministry were arrested on charges that they used homeless people as forced labor, holding them in locked up group homes and forcing them to panhandle for up to 9 hours a day, 6 days a week. The former pastor for the Imperial Valley Ministries, Victor Gonzalez, and others were arrested in San Diego and El Centro, California, and Brownsville, Texas. They face charges of conspiracy, forced labor, document servitude, and benefits fraud. The El Centro based ministry has about 30 affiliate churches throughout the United States and Mexico. It runs 5 group homes in Southern California, dozens of victims, and many of them homeless. Some of them as young as 17. What the fuck, man? They were lured into these group homes with the promise of food and shelter until they were able to return home. And instead, the ministry that had billed itself as rehabilitating drug addicts kept them inside dead-bolted group homes and took their personal belongings and identification documents and refused to return them, stole their food assistance, welfare benefits, and in some cases threatened to take away their children if they left. According to a grand jury indictment that was unsealed on Tuesday. Hold on, how old is this article? 3 years ago. Okay. So yeah, this happened a long time ago, so some of the dates are a bit, well, inaccurate. The indictment alleges the appalling abuse of power by church officials who preyed on vulnerable homeless people with promises of a warm bed and meals. Said Robert Brewer, U.S. Attorney. At a news conference, these victims were held captive, stripped of their humble and financial means, their identification, their freedom, their dignity. Windows were nailed shut at some group home locations, leading to a desperate 17-year-old victim to break out of a window and escape. What the? This is a fucking prison. Okay. It's literally just a labor camp. Yeah. Escape and run to a neighboring property to call police. Ministry members told people that they would not receive transportation home or that loved ones had rejected them and they must stay because only God loved them. What the fuck? It's just fucked up. Punishments for violations of home rules, including talking about the outside world. allegedly included withholding of food. What the actual fuck? In addition to the panhandling for up to 54 hours a week? To provide money to the church, some victims were refused medical treatment. A diabetic woman was refused medicine, supplies, and food for her low blood sugar and somehow managed to escape. Damn, I don't know how she managed that. Must have been one tough woman. And managed to seek help. According to another woman was also refused treatment for a prolapsed uterus. Holy shit. A man who answered the phone at the ministry's headquarters on Tuesday night declined to comment or be named, but said the church would be posting comments on his websites in a couple of days. An email was sent seeking comments, and no one replied, apparently. All alleged victims have been identified and are free, thankfully, and support services are available to them, or were available to them for, yeah. Wow. And people wonder why homeless people don't like staying in shelters. It's because shit like this can happen. And the next thing you know, you're just there. They promise you a free meal or something, and end up turning you into a fucking slave. No, that's not how this is supposed to work. Definitely not. Anybody who does this kind of shit deserves to go to prison and never be let out. I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye.